All right, here live. Give me some time. All right. Wait for a few people to come in here. Okay. All right, we got one joining. Awesome. Wait for maybe a few more people and then we'll get rolling here. All right, we got a couple people coming in. All right, I guess we'll get started a little bit. So, Mason Riggs back here again, second video. Here to talk some more Raider knowledge and Raider draft rumors and whatnot. I don't know if you guys saw it today, but the rumor came out from Tom Pelissero, I believe, or excuse me, Ian Rappaport from NFL Network, saying that Herbert has a scheduled FaceTime meeting with the Las Vegas Raiders, also as well with the Los Angeles Chargers, and they've met with him already at the Combine as well. And some interesting thoughts on that. I would say it's a little bit past a rumor. That meeting is confirmed over FaceTime. Tom Pelissero posted some of the rules regarding it due to COVID-19. You know, there's no informal visits from here on out, visiting organizations and headquarters. So Tom Pelissero from NFL Network listed each call/FaceTime session will be capped at 1 hour, no more than 3 in a week for one club with one player. So once again, no more than 3 in a week for one club with one player. So you can meet with them for 3 hours every 7 days if the Raiders choose to. And all reported meetings must be made to the NFL personnel department. So basically it's public knowledge, which is why I'd say it's more than a rumor. They are going to meet with him. And as soon as I saw that this morning, I thought, what not a better time than, break down some film, watch some games of his. So that's what I did. I just went on YouTube and, typed in Herbert versus, blank, entered the search, and I watched, I think, 4 games from this year. So I watched him versus Auburn week 1. Then I watched him versus Cal early on. And then what was the other game I watched? I watched him versus Utah in the Pac-12 championship. And then I watched him versus Washington. So I watched 4 games from Herbert, every throw he made in context. And I don't know if you guys saw a video of last week. Me and Zenny were talking about him a lot, and he was really high on Justin Herbert. I believe he had him as his number 1 quarterback. I did not. I gave him a little pushback, but after watching those 4 games, I've definitely risen him a couple notches. He can make every throw. There's no denying that. Athleticism, can climb up in the pocket. He's got pretty good feet in there. On the downside, there was just a lot of screenplays, a lot of design throws. I'll get into that a little bit when I get into the Auburn games more specifically, which was a week 1 game that they had. But overall, he is got all the tools. I believe he's 6'6", 230, 240, can run really well. Basically, if you were to design a quarterback, out of a test tube, he would be it. He is everything you look. Big arm, 4.0 student, a bit of an introvert, which doesn't really bother me too much. But a real good player. Won the Pac-12 championship this year. They blew out Utah. Very good defense. Some negatives I do have, though, is, like I said, a lot of design plays. In the Auburn game alone, I believe there's 15 wide receiver screen plays about that I counted. That's just a lot of design, one read throws. But like I said, he can make every throw. A real big plus is, When he's about to get crushed in the pocket and he really can't set his feet, I saw him deliver beautiful passes when it came down to it. It was really encouraging. What's up, son? How's it going, man? Good to see you back. I appreciate it. Just talking a little Herbert right now. I watched 4 games today with the rumor or the confirmed that he has a FaceTime meeting with the Las Vegas Raiders. So I figured I'd watch 4 games, and like I said, I came rather impressed. Like I said, I had him slated as my third quarterback. I still have him slated as my third quarterback, but I liked what I saw. Now, having said that, a lot of design plays, doesn't make a lot of 2-3 reads out there, doesn't work through his progression. And then another thing is he struggled with ball placement. So the ball would be accurate, quote unquote, as in it would get to the receiver a lot of times, especially underneath and intermediate. However, he would miss. So if it was a drag route coming right to left, there were several times where he would push it a little low and on the back hip of the receiver, causing him to slow his momentum down a little bit. There's another play specifically against Auburn where he has a wide open tight end on an out route. It's about 3rd and 6, crucial time. It's a 1-possession game at this point, and he's open and he misses a little low and he drifts out of bounds and he falls short of the first down. They're forced to punt, and Auburn goes ahead and scores again, and Oregon ends up losing that game in a close one. So can make every throw, smart kid, really good athleticism. I liked what I saw. And I'll put it like this. If Daniel Jones can go very high, if Josh Allen from Buffalo can go very high, there's going to be no doubt in my mind Justin Herbert is going to go in the top 6. And he should. He really should. He's an accomplished player. He's got all the athleticism. He's smart. Like I said, he just struggles with ball placement. And a lot of times in short routes, he has the tendency to throw over the top a little bit, and he kind of dirts the ball. But man, you watch 4 games on YouTube, you just see some big time throws from him. There's no doubt in that. It's so weird seeing FaceTime meetings. Crazy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Technology has made it a little bit better with this COVID-19. That's for sure. Definitely, I'm sure the NFL teams are ecstatic that they get to have the FaceTime meetings. I think that's something new. So that is really nice. But yeah, so he makes big time throws. He can make every throw. He just struggles a little bit with ball placement. And, when a receiver, for example, has a drag route and he should get about 5 yards, sometimes he'll get about 3 because the ball will be on his back hip. But man, he is good. And he's got sneaky, sorry, that's my cat. He's got sneaky athleticism, as I mentioned. So with that rumor, I've kind of mentioned earlier, if the Raiders are going to take a quarterback, they should. That means they're in love with them. And if you're in love with a young quarterback, then that's exactly what you should do. However, I do not expect the Raiders to mortgage, the draft picks to move up into the top 5 to take a quarterback. There's just too many holes on this team. They're not a quarterback away. So if Herbert begins to slide and somehow makes it past number 6, gets about 7 or 8, maybe the Raiders, try to move up. But they're just doing their due diligence, and definitely doesn't hurt them saying that they are going to meet with him, because if all the quarterbacks, 3 or 4 quarterbacks go before the Raiders, it just causes a good defensive player to fall. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. I can come together and put together a more solid scouting report and deliver it again. Like I said, I just kind of started watching this film today and watched 4 games, but man, he can make every throw. It's really nice. He's got an ability out there, that's for sure. Do you guys have any draft questions out there or anything? I would not trade up with Raiders. And yes, so Jalen Hurts, JB, yes. I think the Raiders would love a guy like Jalen Hurts. However, I do believe the signing of a Marcus Mariota is then coming to the realization that Jalen Hurts will not be around by the time the 3rd round comes around. I do not believe that. A perfect landing spot I believe it was like pick 45 or 50 around there, Pittsburgh Steelers' first pick. I could see them jumping all over Jalen Hurts. They got Big Ben. He can groom a little bit. They can use him in the red zone already. They've had experience, in the past with a guy like Cordell Stewart. So they can find snaps for him, a package, maybe Taysom Hill package early on. But as I mentioned, I think the Mariota signing really signals that they just feel that, Jalen Hurts is going to be gone. You can't take him at 19. So not having a pick really where he's projected, or I feel he's projected, them signing Marcus Mariota kind of buries that as far as I can see. But yes, Jalen Hurts is a riser. He's been working on his mechanics. One of his flaws that he had during the season was when he were to open to throw a pass, he would open up his front shoulder too much, and he wasn't able to generate through his legs. And he's got such great legs, power lifter, just amazing. So if you watch during the combine, you'll see him keeping that shoulder tucked in a little bit more, and you see a lot more accuracy and zip on his ball. But he's got plenty of arm. There's no denying that. He just needs to work on his mechanics out there. But a real good player. Do you guys know Draft Network at all? You guys on the chat, you guys follow Draft Network? You guys ever do the draft simulator at all out there? I was thinking about doing that. I don't know if that interests you guys. We can just do draft questions as well. But I was thinking about doing the simulators. Yes, Raiders gave their whole franchise away. Yeah, gave the whole. Your return to Khalil Mack. Yeah, he was a good player, but I wouldn't call that the whole franchise. So I think I'm going to do some draft simulator, guys, and I'm going to see if I can switch this around. Hold on, sorry about that. Give me a second here. Let me see if I can. We'll run some draft simulators together off the Draft Network. A real good program. Sorry, guys. Let me just look around for a second. Real good program. I'm going to do only the first 5 rounds. I don't have the premium, so I can't do the trades. We'll do fast speed. And what I usually do is if the first, 7, 8 picks just don't look right, I'll just scrap it and restart. But, let's go ahead and have some fun and do, 4 or 5 mock drafts here. I'm going to turn this around, see if this lines up. Boom. Let's see. Zoom in a little bit, hopefully. Hopefully you guys can see. Let me know if you can't. But let's just go ahead and start this thing. Let's see what we get going. So Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Gakuda. So right off the get-go, that's pretty good. Let's see how this falls. So you see a C.J. Henderson going number 9. I'm really high on him. Really good man-to-man cover corner out there. A lot of experience in press, cover 1 especially. I believe around 35-40% of his snaps came from cover 1 man. So he went number 9 there. He's from the University of Florida. Real good cover corner. So I think he would be a possibility. So when you're looking at it here, we got our 3 receivers here. We got Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy. As I previously mentioned, I think the Alabama boys would be highest up on the Raiders draft board, coming from more of a college offense. So Kinlaw, I think, would also be a good option for the Raiders. They're looking for interior pressure. I've heard a lot of Chris Jones comp. He's a monster out there, man among boys. But, let's go receiver. Son or JB, you guys got any preferences? Henry Ruggs, CD, Jerry? What are you guys thinking? If not, I'll just select one here shortly to keep it going. But let's draft one of these guys. Anything? I'm going to go Henry Ruggs with the mindset. He kind of has one of the rare skill sets with the speed, the 4.3 speed with the lack of drops. You want Lamb? We can go Lamb if you want. So Lamb is really good. I'll give you some insight on Lamb. I think you were here last time and when I talked about him a little bit. Or Mims. A little too early for Mims. I see Mims kind of in the pick 23 on early second. But there is a chance, he goes higher than that, obviously, middle first round or early-ish middle. So we'll go Lamb here. My concerns with him with the Raiders is he hasn't really faced a lot of good cover corners in his time. Maybe Jeff Gladney is the best one, who's a real good corner, but they primarily play cover 4. So he hasn't really faced a lot of press. But a really strong hands, great after the catch, a yak monster. And, in the game against LSU in the playoffs, I believe he had about 4 or 5 catches for over 100 yards. Should have had more, had a drop on about a 60-yard pass, go off his hands, probably would have gone in the end. He probably would have ran to the end zone. So not as polished as a route runner as a Jerry Jeudy, but yeah, CeeDee Lamb is the man. Would be ecstatic with that pick. Any of the top three guys, I really would be. So now here, based on it, I'm gonna go Kinlaw. I think in real life, if Javon Kinlaw was available at pick 19, I know corner's a high need, but Kinlaw is a top 10 type of talent, top 13 type talent. He was able to dominate in the SEC with not a lot of moves. Which is really different than a guy like a Rashawn Gary who didn't have a lot of moves, who didn't have a whole lot of production or pressures. A guy like Kinlaw would. So I'm going to go with Kinlaw here. Interior pass rush, could probably play a little bit everywhere. Go Kinlaw. So as we're moving on, we got our receiver. And so now that we got CeeDee Lamb out here, it's he's a real good heavy target share type of receiver one, potentially. So it really enables you to really attack if we want to take another receiver later, to really get any type of receiver we really want, because, he's a number one you would like to assume out there. So based on the board out here, Jalen Hurts is available. So we'll go ahead and make that pick right now. Like I said, I don't think he will be available in the third. We'll take him here just based on, got to take if he's available. And then scrolling down, Darnell Holmes. I really liked him. He played a little nickel, played pretty well at the Senior Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Troy Pride Jr. is a burner, a real heavy, high recruit. So those are two corners. I wish I had their measurements in front of me because, we're looking for press, long-armed corners. We'll go with, let's look at Pride here real quick. 5'11", 193. I'll have his arm length would be key. We'll go with him, though, and address another need. I think he had a real good on the offseason interview process type of thing, offseason. So now we've got a receiver, a corner out there, and a big-time defensive lineman in Kinlaw already for y'all stepping back in here. We'll see what we got going on here. We went CD at 12. I think the Ravens should take Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit, I'm very high on, JB. I think Antoine Winfield is my favorite in the class, but for me personally with the Raiders, I need a guy with a little bit more length out there. And you watch his 2018 film clip, he's a top 5 player out there. I know he struggled with tackles out there this year. Maybe has it for a little lingering problem from his clavicle injury. But a real matchup piece out there. I would say maybe the second best matchup piece in this draft compared to Isaiah Simmons. So, yeah, Delpit is the man, and I could see the Ravens doing that. They definitely prioritize defense. So, as I mentioned, we got, for all you guys who just started in, we went with CD, Kinlaw, Hurts at 80. I don't think he'll be there in real life. Like I said, I think he won't get past, pick 55. And then we went Troy Pride, the highly touted high school recruit from out of Notre Dame. So out of here, there's some good receivers. A good running back might be in order for us. Take some carries away from Josh Jacobs, Zach Moss. I really love him. Reminds me of Kareem Hunt. I like Kayvon Wallace as a little matchup nickel safety kind of player from the University of Clemson. We're into that. My guy right here, Nitain Mutai. I don't know if you guys have ever watched his clip. He is the pancake man. He picks people up and he drops them on their back. And then what does he do? He jumps on top of them. A real mauler, gap scheme type of guy from the University of Fresno State. I think I'm going to make this pick. And the reason why I'm going to make this pick is, there's 5 offensive linemen pretty much every play. So you need depth there. And if you look at our guards, Gabe Jackson's making about $10 million, so he might be a cap casualty, making top 5 guard money. And then Richie Incognito is phenomenal, a mauler as well, but, getting a little long in the tooth. So my guy here is I'm going to go with Mutai. Another good pick maybe would be like a Bradney and Nye. Jadari Zuniga's good. All the receivers. Amika Robertson is one of my favorite players. A real feisty, small nickel corner from Louisiana Tech, 11 career picks, if I'm not mistaken, a hit or two. Brian Edwards is a big guy, monster from South Carolina. I believe he was found with a foot fracture. Didn't do any of the post draft, but a 4-star recruit, 6'3", 215. He would be another option. But as I mentioned, I'm going to go with my boy, Nathan Mutai, the Pancake Man. Check out some of his clips on YouTube. He's an absolute mauler. So we'll continue with the Fresno State connection. And as I previously mentioned, I'm not going to do all 7 rounds because obviously the Raiders don't have 7-round picks in the 7th. So as we're going here, pick 121, we'll address, see who else is available. Obviously, we need another receiver still. Running back might be in order. A linebacker might be in order. Kayvon Wallace is real nice. Like I said, has a little bit of a matchup piece. No Akeem Robertson, so he got taken. A.J. Dillon's nice. We go receiver here. What are you guys thinking out there on the chat? Do you guys have any suggestions here? I'm leaning towards probably receiver or running back here. Me personally. Devin Duvernay is played out of the slot primarily at University of Texas, but a real speed demon. John Simpson is another good interior lineman, but we already addressed that. Tyler Johnson from Minnesota is a real nice player. He's got a nice dominant release on his fake fades, slant routes in the end zone. Kenny Willocase, a nice hard player. Courtney Davis is a nice player as well. So I'm going to go with Davis. So I believe he's 6'1", about 200 pounds. Yeah, 6'1", 200 pounds. Another 4-star player. Had a real productive last couple of years. There's Thaddeus Moss, Randy Moss's kid. So we'll go ahead and draft the wide receiver. So with 2 wide receivers out there, that really potentially solidifies the Raiders out wide. That would give them a CD Lamb, a de facto number 1, Tyrell Williams at number 2, Hunter Renfrow in the slot primarily, and another young player, Davis, who we just took out of the University of Texas A&M, as another pick. So this would be the Raiders' last pick. Looking at it here, Julian Blackman, I believe, will be gone more in real life here. He's a nice player. J.R. Reed in the box safety. I really want more of center field safety to project with an Abram. Tanner Muse, more in the box. Michael Walker, nice play. Logan Wilson, a tackling machine from the University of Wyoming. Ooh, I really liked him. It gives us a young linebacker to really groom out there, which would be nice. Kwiatkowski's on a 2-year deal. Littleton's on a 3-year deal. So let's go Logan Wilson out here. Tackling machine from the University of Wyoming, guys. I don't know if you guys have seen him. Check out some of his clips. A real heady guy. So that gets us through our first simulator right now. Let's see the final results and check on it again. Go to my picks here. Once again, this is the Draft Network machine from draftnetwork.com. Highly recommend it. It's have some fun out there. So right here, with all our picks, all these picks in the top 100 especially, we're able to grab quite a haul in my opinion. CD Lamb, a lot of people's number 1 receiver, real yak guy, de facto number 1 for the Raiders with the first pick. And then we went a best player available at 19, Javon Kinlaw, someone I think the Raiders will heavily consider at 12 potentially. So I went with him, to really boost up that interior. And then I went with Jalen Hurts based off of value. I don't think he's going to really be there in real life, but I went with him. And then Troy Pride Jr., Nathan Mutai, the Mauler, the Pancake Man from the University of Fresno State. Quadre Davis from Texas A&M, a real good player. And then Logan Wilson, the tackling machine from the University of Wyoming. So really nice haul here, guys. And let's do another one. Looks like we lost all the people. No worries. We'll just do another one here. Maybe we'll get a couple more people to drop in. If not, not a big deal. Here we go. Raiders. Go 5 rounds. We could do fast this time. Predictive born. And let's get it rolling. It's Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Derek Brown, Isaiah Simmons to Herbert. That's pretty close enough, with all those top picks. Once again, C.J. Henderson went at number 9. I would like to see him as an option at 12 for us. Didn't get him this time. So last time, all 3 receivers are available. Same time this time. We went with CD, Things Thurman Son, who I think would be the third most likely to end up on the Raiders out of the top 3. And let's do a little Al Davis draft pick here. Let's go with Henry Ruggs. So something about him is I think he only has 3 drops in his career, which is super rare, especially from a guy that runs 4.3 speed. It's something really interesting out there. Underrated route runner. And I think if you take him, with the mindset of you're going to take another receiver later in the draft, being the Raiders, it's probably easier to find a possession, a route runner, between rounds 3 and 5, rather than a true burner out there. So we're going to go with Henry Ruggs at pick 13 this time. Jerry Jeudy at 15 to the Broncos. Delpit at 18 to Miami. Okay, so once again, we went with the speed demon Henry Ruggs with our first pick. Now, based off of players here, 2 really good corners I love, needs as well. Jeff Gladney from the University of the Horned Frogs, TCU. A little bit undersized, but about 32-inch arms, feisty competitor, several career picks, primarily played in the cover 4, but lined up in the press a lot. He's someone I really like. And then someone I'm really high on is Christian Fulton. I've watched a lot of him, about 4 or 5 games, probably about twice over the last few days. And he is a little handsy. He can be a little grabby at times, but he's real sticky in coverage. PBUs. And someone, it might just be because he's from the University, LSU, but really reminds me of a guy like Tre'Davious White, who has been phenomenal in the pros. So I'm really high on Christian Fulton here. So at pick 19, I'm going to go with Christian Fulton. Over 50% of his snaps he lined up in press man, which is real nice. The Raiders want to get towards that press man. So we're going to go Christian Fulton here. And we'll keep going. I see a couple people in and out of the stream. Let's see. So, with the Raiders not having a second-round pick in this year's draft, I think they preferably want to move back at some point with one of their first picks to acquire a pick in the second round. With having diversity of picks and a wide variety of range, it enables you to capitalize off of value. So here we go again. Jalen Hurts is available again. I do not want to go Jalen Hurts just because I don't think he'll be there in real life. Now, someone I would be ecstatic with here if they were available, Ashton Davis. I watched him, saw him, stumbled upon him against Herbert against him, and he ends up with a nice pick on a little skinny post and a big hit on a nice seam route, forces an incompletion. He did have a late personal foul penalty on Herbert at the sideline, but to take Winfield. Yeah, Antoine Winfield. Yeah, Antoine Winfield's the man, JB. He's someone special I really like. His dad gave him everything he needs. He's gone here, which I thought. Okay, so I'm gonna go with, like I said, Ashton Davis. Track star, local product out of Berkeley. I like that. Nearby, and then here. If we could we don't need a corner anymore, a safety it's building up our defense. What if we added a real good linebacker, someone that blew up the combine, a guy, Willie Gay Jr., I believe a 5-star prospect, went to the University of Mississippi State. So he'll know our boy Jonathan Abram out there. Got suspended for cheating on a chemistry class as well as punching, I believe, the backup quarterback at one point. but listening to Daniel Jeremiah, he has a lot of good things to talk about. Do you think that the Raiders should get Trent Williams? Ooh, JB. I do not think they should get Trent Williams. It would cost too much, in my opinion, to get Trent Williams. They want a lot back. I've heard rumors that someone's offered him a second-round pick before, and they turned it down. So I don't think Trent Williams is an option. We got Colton Miller and Trent Brown making top tackle money in Trent Brown, so I don't see that happening. But yeah, so Willie Gay Jr., great athlete, blew up the combine, second best linebacker combined. Isaiah Simmons. If Isaiah Simmons didn't exist, everyone would be talking about him right now. So we went defensive heavy, and we got a receiver. Let's see what we're working with. Ooh, another guy that's been kind of blowing it up, Chase Claypool. Ooh, I like him. But you know what? Based off of tape, I'm going with no. Because we went Ruggs. See, this is what I was talking about. Depends, when you're building a receiver room, take Donovan Peoples-Jones. I can do that for you if you want. He's another big athletic receiver, had a lot of off-target balls at the University of Michigan. Bob Mooney says we're getting Jerry Jeudy. Okay, I like it. Calling your shot. I think any of those three receivers in the Niners system would be great. Personally, CeeDee Lamb I think would be the best. As I mentioned before, but any three would be great. So let's see if Peoples-Jones is available for our boy here. Peoples. He is not. So I'm going to go with Van Jefferson. I think he is a really, really good route runner from the University of Florida. You watch his tape versus LSU. He catches a touchdown, makes Fulton pay, Stingley pay. It's arguably some of the two best corners in the nation, regardless of age. So with Henry Ruggs and you get a Van Jefferson, he could be a real poor man's, from a draft status, Jerry Jeudy out there. So you get that route runner and you start building a receiver room like a basketball team, a little bit of everything out there. So a little refresher here, guys. The second mock we got working here. I'm with Henry Ruggs at 12, Christian Fulton at 19, Ashton Davis, track star, single high safety ability from the University of California. Real good game. Highlight plays against Oregon and Herbert. Willie Gay Jr. at 81 from Mississippi State. If it wasn't for Isaiah Simmons, he would be the most talked about blowing it up. I imagine if the Falcons taken actually a good offensive lineman. JB there, I'm not willing to go there yet. If I'm not mistaken, they got McGrady from Washington at tackle. And then they did they get Lindstrom from Boston College? I believe they do. I'm really high on Lindstrom from last year. If I remember correctly, most of the young guys got hurt early in the year. And obviously if you can't practice early on, we're talking about the Falcons' young linemen. Hello, Zenny. Good to see you. Hey, just doing a little draft simulator talk here. Then that would happen. So as I said, we went with Willie Gay blowing up the combine, and then Van Jefferson, a real good route runner. Build that receiver room like a basketball team. You got speed, you got some big guys, and then as well Van Jefferson, the route runner. So let's see what's available now, guys. Lynn Bowden, nice interesting story. We already got two receivers, but this is a guy that played quarterback at the University in Kentucky in a pinch this past season. Real interesting story there. Kayvon Wallace is a nice little slot player, used a little bit everywhere, played in tandem with Tanner Muse. We know how much the Raiders really enjoy their Clemson players. I like that. Brandon Jones is a high recruit, University of Texas, a little bit more in the box, but great physical running ability. Let's see here. Interior offensive line, Shane Lemieux from Oregon. Oh, nice, good run stopper. Like Fotu. Tyler Johnson's a nice route runner. James Morgan. A.J. Dillon, a nice power back out there. Let's give A.J. Dillon a look here. A real good power runner from Boston College. Mike Mayak's alma mater out there. 40-inch plus vertical, 4.5 40. Really blew up the combine. He's going to get north-south, but I could see him being that real power back, taking some from our boy out there, providing Jacob some help. So let's put AJ Dillon out there. Real nice power back out there, real north south. I can see them even using him as fullback a little bit, like Zach Crockett out there. So Zannies, hey, so the mock draft machine out there. This is from the Draft Network. Shout out to those guys out there. They have a great podcast network. This is their software, essentially their program, where you can pick what team you want, how many rounds, you can pick as many teams, and it just based off needs and where their projections are, they kind of autofill. So you can kind of mess around with it and get a nice little haul, see who might be available. As I've mentioned before, they have Jalen Hurts available both times at pick 80, 81 for us. I did not take him this time because I think he will be a second-round pick. Pittsburgh, ideal landing spot. So around pick 45, 50 at the latest. So let's go on here. Let's see what we got. So we're at pick 159, guys. We could use an interior offensive lineman, as I mentioned. Gabe Jackson is making $10 million, top 5 money. We got Richie Incognito, who played on an All-Pro. Can you make virtual trades? So Zenny, the catch with that is, and I might have to do that, with it being draft time, is that requires a subscription. I believe about $10 a month. You get also more access through the Draft Network guys, articles, Benjamin Solak, all those guys, Tampa Trey. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they want they want a subscription base to do the trades. But as I previously mentioned, I do expect. I gotta try during class. I gotta cut my sense. The teacher gave me. JB, I like the support. Keep it going, but hey, stay in school. Education's important, man. I appreciate it though. So let's see here. Oh, Zenny 62 Media. You hear that, folks? So we might be getting trades here in the work here in the next few days. Hopefully, that'd be nice. So looking at the board, what is available? Let's go by position, shall we, guys? Let's go by position. So we got a receiver, running backs built. Let's go interior offensive line, as I mentioned. They give us some depth and some flexibility we could really use out there. User Durant, I've seen quite a bit. He's a good player. Jake Hansen from Oregon. They had the top offensive line with Herbert back there. You got a couple of Mississippi State boys. Some road graders, a Clemson guy. I haven't really actually mentioned. I've more no Simpsons. So let's stay away from interior offensive line. Let me see. Okay. Antonio Brooks is a nice player. Tanner Muse is a good player. I think he projects more as a weak side linebacker, strong safety. So I don't know if there's really a spot considering we got Willie Gay as well as Davis in the draft here. I don't really just want to pick someone just to pick someone. I want to keep it going. Colton Miller is terrible. He was definitely overdrafted, JB. That is true. But, he did make a lot of improvements this past year. And I will give him this. He is a tough player. He has been battled and continues to play. But, yes, a bit of a reach in my opinion. Was that pick. But, let's be real here. He's coming into his third year. He improved quite a bit in year 2, so we can still remain patient. He is definitely a tremendous athlete. But, yes, they did reach with that pick. I imagine if we had Derwin James out there, that would have been phenomenal. But where's Evan Weaver of Cal? Oh, yeah, big Cal guy. We checked the Zenny 62 Media YouTube. We got an interview with him on his way to the Combine from our own Zenny. I did not take him. A tackling machine, yes, real smart, heady player. And I watched back the Herbert Zenny. I mentioned earlier with the Herbert news, I rewatched 4 Herbert games. And me and you got into it a little bit, and I'm coming around. He definitely has all the tools, just a little inconsistent. But I was watching him versus Cal, and there is a play, a real nice play by Evan Weaver, covering the middle of the field, the middle center deep, covering a deep route, and gets his hand on the ball. There also is another one where where he has a pass interference for not turning around. But yes, Evan Weaver, a tackling machine. I went with Willie Gay Jr., a little bit more physical upside from the University of Mississippi State. But yes, Evan Weaver, a local guy. And plus, I already got another Cal guy, Ashton Davis. I don't know if you know him. Yeah, Evan is a hoss. Yes, he is. He is a hoss. Cal is my team, even though I'm in Wisconsin. I'm a Cal fan. Oh, beat up on Ohio. Yep, Ashton Davis, yeah. Yeah, so Ashton Davis, rewatching that game specifically, he picks off Herbert, and then they have a nice seam route, I believe, on the next drive. Should be about 25-yard gain, and he lays wood and flourishes an incompletion. How would you feel if we took two receivers? I would not be happy if the Raiders took two receivers in the first round, in my opinion, unless they get two of the top three. Yeah, I missed interviewing him because of my flight time. Too bad. I wish we would have had that on our channel. That would have been great. If the Raiders, yeah, Zenny agrees. I believe he's mentioning the two first-round picks, receivers. I would not like that. The only way you can maybe do that is if you trade back, you gain more picks, or if you get two of the top three, which would be Ruggs, Lamb, or Judy, which I don't think is very likely. So I would not like that. I still think we have to beat the Kansas City Chiefs out there. You have to be able to stop who's in your division. And let's be real here. We can't stop the tight end. We haven't been able to prove it yet. Jonathan Abram has not proven it yet. We did get a couple linebackers, but let's build up that defense to give our offense more opportunities and get them back on the field quicker. That would be my suggestion. And I think Mike Mayock will lock John Gruden in a bathroom if he has to try to secure that from happening. Where did Simmons go? So in this draft, let's see. He went number 4. Zenny to the New York Giants. I love Isaiah Simmons. I don't think he'll go 4, though. Linebackers usually fall a little bit just based off positional value. And I think, honestly, if Isaiah Simmons were to fall anywhere past number 7, I think, Carolina would be tempted to do that after Kuechly's sudden retirement. Yeah, the next LT. He can do it all, man. He really could. And you know what really interests me, Zenny, is where would the Raiders play him? Would they line him up more as a traditional linebacker, or would they really embrace the true matchup piece, line him up at free safety, line him up, defensive end sometimes, outside pass rusher? What would they do? Because the real interesting thing about him is I believe he has 200 snaps at 3 positions, essentially. So a real good player. And let's keep it rolling, guys. Let's do another one, shall we? Let's go here. So we're going to restart. Let's exit this. Sorry for the quality right now. I went the wrong way, didn't I? Start a mock draft. Like Collins with New England. Yep. Let's see. Raiders. You want me to do the Niners as well? I know we had a Niners fan in here. Yeah, it's more of a hybrid. Yeah, I would use him as a hybrid role. I think if you use him in one role, Isaiah Simmons we're referencing, you're kind of limiting him. Okay, we got Bob moving, so we'll do a Niners as well. We'll get the Niners rolling. And similar to the Niners, I expect them to try to move back in the draft as well to get more linebackers and DN Simmons. Yeah, so in heavy pass rush at the University of Clemson, they lined him out at outside pass rusher quite a bit of times. He could do it all. You could watch back in the playoffs. He applies quite a bit of pressure. He is the biggest force of pressure against LSU. And then the second half, you can see they really turned it up to try to game plan to stop him. So the Niners should not have broke up their D-line. Zenny, I do agree with you, but I will say this. There is a guy named Javon Kinlaw out there who is quite special that I think has a decent chance of being there at 13. There's a lot of talk that they will go receiver, but if it was me, I would go Kinlaw if I was them. So we're going to do the Niners we're going to do 7 rounds because the Niners pick. So right away here again, C.J. Henderson, guys. This has become quite a trend. C.J. Henderson at 9. I'm really high on him. I would like to see them, be available at 12. Fits the profile that we're looking for in our corners. 6 foot, 4'4", 40, 31-inch plus arms. A real true man-to-man, lined up in cover 1. I believe 50% of his snaps, according to Pro Football Focus. I would love to see him available at 12. He is not. So, at 12. We went before at Kinlaw. We've done one of the receivers. We can do that again. A McKinney, I think it's a little early. Plus, he played so much linebacker, weak side linebacker for Alabama this past year. I'm looking for more of a single high potentially. Delpit still a little early. So, with the Raiders, we could go Kinlaw again, but, it's one of the 3 receivers. So we've done Ruggs, we've done Lamb. Let's go with the best route runner in the draft class, probably Jerry Jeudy. If there's anyone close to him, it might be a Van Jefferson from Florida. Let's go with Jerry Jeudy. And he works extensively out with Antonio Brown, real close to him. I like that. So we'll give Bob the pick here at pick 13 with his Niners if he wants. You got the Javon Kinlaw interview. Yeah, I saw that on your thing. A little short story about him. Grew up homeless. Doesn't have a lot of moves out there, but in the SEC, able to push people around, collapse the pocket single-handedly. Reminds me of a Chris Jones out of Mississippi State. Kinlaw. Bob, you got a pick for you guys at 13, one of the receivers, Ruggs, Lamb, or if Kinlaw, maybe a corner, maybe a McKinney. I'll give Bob another minute here. CeeDee Lamb he wants. Hungry, though. Yes. Oh, I love me some Kinlaw. If Kinlaw is available here for the Raiders again, I'm probably going to take him. So CeeDee Lamb, Bob is going with. Tangibles off the charts. Yeah, great work ethic. And like I said, he's only going to improve technically speaking. He doesn't have, all he really has is a bull rush. He hasn't even utilized a swim move 100%. You want the Ravens, JB? So, JB, we'll do the Ravens. I'll include them next time. I'm sorry if that's what you keep trying to get me to post. We'll throw them in the simulator next. So, CeeDee Lamb, Bob's pick at 13. As I mentioned on my last video, I think that would be the best pick for the Niners. With all their crossing routes and their play action, that's what CeeDee Lamb excelled in. That would be phenomenal. Okay, so the Raiders, here we go. Okay, Henry Ruggs. So I got you, JB, next time. Henry Ruggs. As me and Zenny said, I hope they wouldn't take 3 receivers back-to-back. If they were to, without a trade back. All right, Zenny, take care. I would not go with another receiver. We could do that if that's what you want me to do here. As I previously mentioned, I like a Kinlaw, I like a Delpit. Me personally, I'm going to go to Grant Delpit out here, guys. You watch some of his 2018 tape, folks. He is a top 5, top 10 player in this draft class, can play everywhere. We could finally eliminate the tight ends, hopefully, from killing us in our division. 2 linebackers with some ability. And then that would give us Abrams, who's, obviously growing, unproven at this point. And then Grant Delpit, and someone that can play that free safety role as well as in the box and in the nickel. In the slot. So, all right, Bob, we're back on. Your San Francisco, Santa Clara 49ers are back on the clock. So they could use a defensive lineman, definitely. Could use a offensive lineman. Could use, probably don't need another receiver, Antoine Winfield Jr. Woo! Maybe my favorite player in the class. I love him. Oh, man. But based off of positional value, I'm going to go with corner. I'm going to go with Trevon Diggs. Stephon Diggs' brother. Press corner. Played a lot of cover 1 out there. Alabama press. 6'2", lengthy, converted receiver. Richard Sherman's getting a little long in the tooth. I really like Trevon Diggs here for the Niners. And then another player, Noah Inganagami from Auburn, a long corner. So, Bob, I think my 2 choices would be between Diggs and Winfield. Me personally, based on value, I'm going to go Diggs for you guys. You did get back Jimmy Ward. You want to give me, I'll give you another minute, see how you chime in. But I think Diggs is a home run pick potentially here. And as I mentioned, I expect the Raiders and the Niners to try to trade back to recoup more picks, because a variety of picks in a variety of areas allows you, Diggs, yep, Bob, that's why I went Diggs, allows you to really capitalize on players that are falling to get value. For example, if you have no second round picks, it's impossible to capitalize in the second round that players that fall because you don't have any. So you don't know when the value is going to present itself. That's why you want picks in a variety of rounds. All right, so we're back on for the Raiders. And of course, I took my safety, and Ashton Davis is there again. So that's a little bit of a bummer for the Raiders out there, for the way this fell. Because Ashton Davis is there. I wish we would have gone corner probably or something else. But hey, that's how the cookie crumbles here. Darnell Holmes, as I mentioned before, a real nice player. Chase Claypool, a real riser, good underrated runner, run blocker, some good receivers still. Ooh, I'm going with the Mick Robertson. I've passed on him quite a few times here, boys. And ladies, if there's ladies in the chat, check out his YouTube highlight clip. 11 career picks, hitter. Only thing he's got against him is he's small. That's the only thing. But guess what? You can play nickel corner for us. And Joyner, I'm just not sold on yet. So I like that pick. It's not an outside corner. He could definitely potentially play some outside. He did in college. But an ideal nickel corner, I think the best nickel corner in this draft class. All right. So we could get an outside corner to pair with him, which would be nice. Adam Troutman, I don't know if you guys have saw him. He tore up the Senior Bowl from Dayton. John Gruden's alma mater, Ashton Davis. Ooh, okay. We can go lineman, obviously. Raider fans, what are we thinking? Claypool would be nice. Van Jefferson, a nice route runner. Let's go with a bit. No, I'm going with my mauler again. You can see I have my favorites from where we're at. I've done this quite a few times. I'm going with Nathan Mutai. Gives you that flexibility of letting Gabe Jackson go. The pancake man from Fresno State. Let's go with him. Hello, Chrono. Nice to see you. We're just doing some mock draft stuff here. Some draft network. Shout out to them. They're similar. It's awesome. All right. So back on the clock. The Raiders pick number 91. So many top 100 picks for the Raiders. It's really nice. I know they don't have a second, but it's really nice having that. Troy Dye, a nice little coverage, lanky linebacker from Oregon's nice. Route runner and Van Jefferson. Kayvon Wallace, a little bit of Bradney Anai, a technician with his hands. Woo, I like him a lot. I do like him. Evan Weaver. We'll do Evan Weaver for Zenny, shall we, guys? I personally, I think Weaver is more of a 5th to 6th round player. I think his athleticism is lacking. But tackling machine and being smart can get you a lot of places. So we'll do this one for Zenny, even though he left. We'll get Cal the tackling machine, Evan Weaver. So we're doing a little Raiders, Niners. Next, we're hooking up my boy JB, and we're going to throw in the Ravens in there. Keep letting me know if you guys want me to do multiple teams out there. Obviously, the more teams we do, the less I know more personally about their needs and their draft tendencies, but I'm more than happy to provide you information and keep it going. So the Raiders are back on the clock. So we got a receiver, a corner, a safety out there. We got an interior offensive lineman, which I do. Zach Moss running to the podium. Don't even hesitate. Zach Moss out there. I believe brothers or cousins to Santana Moss of formerly of the Washington Redskins. For you guys that remember him, he reminds me of Kareem Hunt 2.0. Okay, so he runs 4.6 or whatever. Big deal. So does Josh Jacobs. Long speed is arguably the least important trait in a running back. I'd rather have a guy that can pick up 4.5 yards, average, than 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 10. Then, you know what I'm saying? I'll take the consistency. So we're back on the clock with the Niners out here. Was Bob still in the building? Could use some help with what you're looking for here. We went with the receiver and corner. Some of their biggest needs. We could use another safety, interior offensive lineman. Ooh, Justin Blackman is a nice player out there from Utah. I believe a team captain, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, I would like that if I was the Niners. That sounds good to me. I think he's really the last kind of flexible safety out there. And if I'm the Niners out there, what got you to where you are? Your defense. Let's build up that defense in San Francisco. Let's go Julian Blackman from Utah. Okay, Raiders back on the clock. We've got a little bit of everything, obviously. We could use a defensive lineman potentially. We could use another corner, maybe one with an outside profile, more or less. Another receiver, maybe safety, Tyree Cleveland. Let's just refresh on the pick, shall we? Let's just refresh for the Raiders. So we got a corner. We only got one receiver for the Raiders. So let's look in the receiver room for the Raiders. And just how this views, there's so many receivers that with like a top 3 to 5 round projection, right? Well, they all can't go there. Someone's bound to fall. So looking at this for the Raiders. Okay, so you got the big route runner already. Let's go with a physical specimen for the Raiders. Let's go with Antonio Gandy Golden. Smaller school, played at Liberty. Bit of a smaller school. Had a really nice Senior Bowl, though. 6'4", 222. A bit of a red. All right, let's keep it going, shall we? And as I previously mentioned, we got the Niners on this one. We'll throw the Ravens on the next one as well. And see some draft hauls for them. The Niners could use a receiver, definitely. And there's one guy I see out here that I really... two guys, actually, I really like. James Prochet, SMU. I don't know if you guys know him. A little bit undersized. Maybe the best hands in the class. Really underappreciated, I think, by mainstream media. I think he would be fantastic for the Niners. But the first guy that kind of stood out to me, Jauan Jennings. Broken tackle machine, folks. I don't have the exact numbers out there, but Pro Football Focus, I believe he had the #1 broken tackles percentage-wise, out of any receiver in this draft class. I'm a real big fan of him. And SMU, the most surprising team in college football. Yeah, SMU, the Mustangs, baby. JB, and don't worry, I didn't forget. We got the Ravens coming up. So I'm going Jennings, one of my personal favorites. Yak Monster. A little bit of separation issues, but at the University of Tennessee, I think he'd be a nice pick for the Niners. The Niners have Jalen Hurts coming back this year, too. Yes, they do. A big hurt. I'm a big hurt guy. The only thing that worries me, his backs are tricky out there. And, they thought he was going to come back rather soon, and then it just kept going and never came back, really. So that concerns me there, but yes, they do. And that's why in the first round early on, I would not be shocked if the Niners went, a Kinlaw out there to replace a corner or a safety, because their defense is what got them there. Kyle Shanahan's greatest strength is opening windows and getting receivers open. So I don't think you really necessarily need that elite talent necessarily. But hey, we went with CD Lamb. So for you Niner fans out there, so far we got CD Lamb, Diggs, nice press corner, value at safety, and Jauan Jennings. If I was a Niner fan, I'd be super, super juiced about that haul. Let's see what we got next for them here. Okay. So for the Niners, let's see. AJ Green's a nice press corner, potentially. James Lynch. I'm going to go with him. I don't know if you guys have seen him. University of Baylor, team captain, played a little bit everywhere. On the edge a lot. I don't see him winning a lot in a 4-3 as an edge, but you're talking in a 3-4, he could hold the point of attack out wide for you as your down lineman. And show some pass rush ability out there. Definitely a good hustle play. So for the Niners, James Lynch, round 6, I think he'll be gone. I think coaches will love what you're getting out of him from effort-wise, but we went with him. Okay. The 49ers and 49ers running backs, they're really living up their name. 49 running backs they have. I like that, JB. Yeah. Now, they do have a lot of running backs, but to give them credit, they know how to utilize them. And, what's-his-face got hurt? McKinnon. Excuse me for the disrespect of saying what's-his-face. But McKinnon got hurt, and, that's the kind of that stuff happens. And, with their younger guys, a Mostert who was James Prochet is still out there. Oh, my goodness. That's not going to happen in real life. I'm just going to do it. You Niners don't need 3 receivers, but oh, my goodness. Just because he's there, I got to take him. Like I said, probably the best hands in the draft, underutilized, appreciated route runner. But yeah, the Niners do have a lot of running back. That is true. All right, so I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Oh, no, one more. Excuse me. The Niners. Jeez. Um, you know what? Rodrigo Blankenship. Let's do it. Best college kicker. Gold's getting older, so let's go with that. I could definitely see them taking a kicker. They went with the punter last year. So, to sum this up, let's go to the mind picks. We'll go by class first. So with the Raiders, we start off with Jerry Jeudy, arguably the best route runner. Then at Delpit to try to solve, that tight end issue as well as give us that solid back end, hopefully, to grow in the future, him and Abram. Then a Mick Robertson, one of my favorite players, a real feisty corner from Louisiana Tech. Check him out, 11 career picks. Then Natane Mutai, so I know the Raiders met with him at the combine. I call him the pancake man, a true mauler. Once he pancakes you, he jumps on you. Then we went with Evan Weaver, real smart football player, tackling machine for Zenny. And then Zach Moss, a real good running back, top 5 running back out there. Reminds me a lot of a Kareem Hunt. That would be awesome if the Raiders could get a back like him. Take some totes off of Jacobs. And it's important. Jacobs never did it alone in college, and he got hurt his first year. It's a pretty significant injury his first year in the pros. So we definitely are going to add a running back either in the draft or later in free agency, I'd imagine. And then we went with the physical specimen, Golden Gandy. Nice red zone target to hopefully improve that. So I think a lot of improvement for the Raiders with this draft. You get a starting safety, immediate contributor at corner, depth guy at linebacker. You get a 1B at running back, in my opinion. A future mauler who can play right away if you want to, cut Gabe and, sign a free agent potentially out there. And then for the Niners, CD Lamb, we had Bob make this pick, who I personally think would be the best pick for the Niners that fits them best with their heavy crossing route system, their heavy play action windows that they create. I think CeeDee Lamb, a yak monster, would be phenomenal 1,000-yard receiver with the Niners, in my opinion. Real chance at rookie of the year if he goes to San Francisco. And then we went with Diggs. Me and Bob agreed with that one. Brother of Stephon Diggs, former receiver, converted corner, lanky, great hands for the corner position. Then we went with Julian Blackmon, so the Niners get another matchup piece on their back end. They just re-signed Ward, if I'm mistaken. And then Juwan Jennings, the yak monster. So you get 2 yak monsters out there. And then James Lynch, versatile, a little bit do it all from Baylor, real good, heady player. I could see the Panthers, though, Matt Rule trying to jump all over him. And we went Prochet, who's one of my favorite players, again, probably the best hands in the draft class. You could watch the combines, and it's just catching the ball second nature for him. And then Rodrigo Blankenship, arguably the best kicking prospect, proven guy. So that's the haul. We'll do another one here. Any more teams? I know I'm going to throw the Ravens in this one here, guys. Any other teams before we get started out there? So we'll do Raiders. Maybe this might be the last one. Maybe one more. Maybe do some questions. I have been streaming for about an hour. Where are the Niners? 49ers, looking for N. 49. Okay, so we're an hour deep. I'm going to wait maybe another 30 seconds here, see if we get another comment. Another question maybe you guys have out there, another team. I'm just going to give it a second before we start. Once we start, we can't add a team. So just give me a second. I'm going to take a sip of water here, and we'll get back to it. All right. So, I'm trying to think. I'm going to have to create some other episodes for us, my favorite players or overreaches or people in media sleeping on. I'll come up with some categories here for us. We'll go normal speed. And 7, I guess we'll do. Like I said, we got Ravens for JB, we got the 49ers for Bob, and then the Raiders. Let's get it going. See if these first couple picks are even realistic. Joe Burrow, Akuda at 2. So I actually had a discussion about Akuda at 2, a little discussion with a group chat of me and my friends. And they're kind of making fun of one of my buddies that said, maybe Akuda at 2. And I do think Chase Young will be the pick at 2, and I would be a bit surprised. But they don't have any corners in Washington right now. They just traded their best corner from this past year. They do have several first-round picks, high draft picks on their defensive line. Okudah, a lot of people I think would argue is maybe the highest touted corner coming out since maybe Charles Woodson. Long, lanky, nose for the football, willing to get his nose in there in the run game. So I don't think that's unheard of, quote unquote. 12. Okay, we'll change it up for the Raiders this time. There's rumors about Herbert. I don't think he'll be there at 12. But based off of value, and let's just say they could do it. Another key factor is if they did take a guy like Herbert, for example, or Jordan Love in the draft, they might look to unload Carr and try to get a second or a third to get some capital to add to their team. And then they got Marcus Mariota who can fill in for the time being. So we're going to go Herbert here, just based off of, change it up for the sake of argument. Niners are back on the clock. Now, Bob, I'm going to change it here a little bit here. I'm going to go with C.J. Henderson or a Kinlaw or C.J. Henderson. I am going to go with C.J. Henderson out there for the Niners. As I mentioned, I think if I was the Niners, I would probably go defense with their first pick, but not crazy. Oh, look at this, Raider fans. What if I could tell you this? Sorry about my text messages notification, guys. I can't silence it right now. I'm using my phone to stream, but what if I could tell you get Herbert and Jerry Jeudy, folks, if you're the Raiders? That would be pretty nice. I think they'd be pretty happy about that. I'm still getting arguably maybe the best receiver that late. That would be something pretty crazy. All right, so let's keep going here. Ravens. All right, JB. Here we go. We got the Baltimore Ravens on the clock. Woo! The linebackers are out there. I could definitely see that. I could see if they didn't add so many guys, and AJ Espinoza really fitting in there, but they added so much. Do they just go ludicrous with some more ludicrous speed out there? Laviska Shenault would be nice. You want Swift. That's nice. I think, me personally, if I were to go running back for them, I would go Jonathan Taylor. I think that north-south power would be awesome. Let me see if Swift is available. I don't think he is, but we will search him for you. Swift. No. So Swift went. Let's see. I bet he went to the Dolphins probably. No. I went to Tampa Bay at 14, JB. Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, I like Jonathan Taylor. Let's go with him. I think if they got him, good luck stopping that offense. So we'll go Jonathan Taylor. I like that pick. Wisconsin blew up the combine with 4.40. Productive as all can be. Really can get it done out there. So the Niners back on the clock. So we went with the corner first. Interior lineman. We go interior offensive lineman. I got Cesar Ruiz, an instant impact player, in my opinion, would be a home run pick there. But me, with their zone scheme, I think they could kind of, find linemen to, the Shanahan's, his dad and him included, have found ways to get it done to find value. So I'm going to add a weapon, kind of similar to Deebo Samuel. A guy that's really dangerous, maybe not the most polished route runner, Laviska Shenault Jr. They lined him up at Wildcat running back. Just get the ball in his hands. He is a freight train. Broken tackles, struggled a lot with injuries. But Bob, I think at 31 that'd be a pretty good pick for them, definitely. So I'm gonna go Laviska Shenault for the Niners. So they get the second corner arguably in the class, and then they go ahead and get a Shenault, a real dangerous playmaker in those play action windows. It's just a yak monster. I mean, two yak guys like him and Deebo, that's pretty exciting. If I was a Niner fan out there, I'd be excited about that. All right, so let's keep it going. The Ravens, let's see if Peoples-Jones. No Peoples-Jones. AJ Terrell's out there, good long press corner. Kyle Douglas, nice. JB out there. Let's keep looking. Ashton Davis, Jalen Johnson, edge. I love Michael Pittman. Let's see. Interior offensive lineman. Robert Hunt's a good player. Antoine Winfield is gone. Unfortunately, I really like him, but he is gone. There's Kyle Duggar, if you would like him. Kyle Duggar is a little bit more versatile, can play a little bit everywhere. Ashton Davis is more of a single high safety, free safety type. Super poor. I can't say poor enough. Ed Reed, maybe role you could play him at. Another receiver, I could see them going receiver. You get a guy like great wingspan with like Ayuk. Maybe a good possession, big receiver like Pittman. They like those big tight ends. Curtis Weaver from the outside edge would be great for them. JB, what are you thinking here? I want to go with you here and see what you think. But I think there's several good options out there. What do you think about like a Curtis Weaver or a receiver? Or another outside pass rusher. Okaware is a nice guy. Josh Uche. There's some good 3-4 outside pass rushers here. Or interior offensive line, JB. What are you thinking for the Ravens? I'm going to give you about 30 seconds here. See if you type something. If not, I'm going to make a pick. Curtis Weaver. I like it. Curtis Weaver. Not the most explosive by measurables. Boise State. Yes, sir. Curtis Weaver. Highly productive. I love him. I think he's going to be a good football player. And honestly, if the Ravens take him, it's pretty much shoo-in because all the Ravens do is find quality defensive players. All right. Okay, so for the Ravens, a linebacker would be nice. Kyle Duggar. You could convert Kyle Duggar to a linebacker, and I think that'd be quite scary if I was them. I don't know how you feel about that, but Kyle Duggar is someone that sticks out to me, or a receiver. Now for the Ravens, maybe a Pittman, a big possession receiver. Yes, Kyle Duggar. I like it. Yeah, because if you go Kyle Duggar, if they're interested in a guy like Queen, which I've heard a lot, or I would imagine they'd be juiced off Kyle Duggar. He's someone that you could either play at safety or an inside linebacker for them. All he would have to do is put on 8-10 pounds, and he'd be weighing, right around what linebackers are in today's day and age. All right, so we are in the third round, pick 80 here, folks. And back to the Raiders. Let's see what we got. And I got to make sure who I pick. It's been so much. So we got Herbert and Judy. So if I'm the Raiders here, defense, please. Defense. And right off the get-go, I'm going to take a corner. I'm taking Troy Pride. And then could go linebacker. I would like a safety potentially. Duggar just went. So I would have liked to see him. We go get a slot corner to really solidify that. I'm going to go with Kayvon Wallace, a Clemson guy. I think he is someone with some versatility that the Raiders would potentially really like. Obviously from the University of Clemson. So I'm going to make that choice for the Raiders. And like I said, I'm trying to get a little bit of variety. Obviously, I have my preferred players that I like to keep drafting, because I'm, confident in them. And then here, I'm just going to keep adding to that defense if I'm them. I'm going to try to get one more. I would like a Mutai. Bradley and Nunn is someone that's really nice, but with them giving Carl Nassib quite a big deal, respectable deal, and then with Max Crosby and Cleveland Farrell, there's only so many snaps, so I'm going to stay away from that, and they still have Arden Key on the roster. I'm going to go Willie Gay. They do need a third linebacker, blow up the combine. Oh, and look at that. We got JB's back on the horn. I bet you, Willie Gay would have been someone that he potentially liked. JB, do you have a preference for Duggar? Do you want him potentially at safety first or linebacker? Because that kind of potentially changes this. We go with a guy like Burgess for you. Akeem Davis-Gaither, a great athlete from Appalachian State. I really like him. Or we go receiver for you guys as well. Let's see what you say here. Safety. Okay, safety. You want Duggar to play safety. Yes, Duggar to play safety, I think you're saying. So let's go with the linebacker. I think that's what you're saying. Akeem Davis Gaither, a great athlete, played a lot of edge, a little undersized, 6'2", 220, but he's going to put on some mass just naturally being in an NFL program now and having that be his job. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to continue to build that Ravens defense out there and get some athletic matchup pieces. And oh my God, in Baltimore, are we building a bully or what, JB? Jonathan Taylor to replace Ingram eventually, be that 1A, 1B his rookie year. Curtis Weaver, an outstanding edge prospect, super productive. Kyle Duggar on the back end, the guy that can hit and cover matchup against Titans. And then a run and chase Akeem Gaither, who can get outside. What about the Notre Dame wide receiver for the Raiders? That's Chase Claypool you're talking about. Did really good at the combine, and what I like about him most probably in Claypool is he is a dominant run blocker out wide. There's several highlights of him putting them in the ground. I think a Chase Claypool would be someone the Raiders would definitely consider in round 3, especially if they went with like a route runner like a Jerry Jeudy in the first. Definitely would be someone that picks out potentially for them. All right, so we got Baltimore back on the clock here. We could go back and get another receiver for your young quarterback out here. Get him a nice, big, long, lanky quarterback. Do you want like measurables, long, lanky guy and Brian Edwards from South Carolina, or do you want like more of a true route runner, a Van Jefferson, his dad's wide receiver coach, I believe with the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken. JB, what are you thinking here? Is there somewhere else? Let me see. How do I see what their needs? Interior offensive line, is any of those? Ooh, Ben Barch. Okay. Ben Barch out there. I'm going to give you guys Ben Barch. I don't know if you know him. St. John's, he played offensive tackle. I think you can kick him in guard. I just saw a profile on him from Daniel Jeremiah on NFL Network, if I'm not mistaken. I think he projects more inside. I think that would be a home run pick for you guys. You got to protect your young quarterback here. So go Ben Barch for the Ravens. Man, I'm really... Woo, Baltimore. I'm telling you what, JB, we're building something over here, man. And the way this draft, from the players, the options they've had, if I'm a Baltimore fan, I am excited with the possibilities that could present themselves. All right, back here with the Raiders. Zach Moss, I'm all about him. I could definitely see that. Tyler, a road grader, definitely see that. Joe Bocci, another, I'm a big fan of him. I love Tyler Johnson. I'm going to go based off of value, though. Zach Moss, like I said, I have him probably as a top 5 running back in this class. Kareem Hunt 2.0. I'm going to go with him for the Las Vegas Raiders. So, that's 3 offensive players for the Raiders. We had Herbert fall to them at 12, so we went Herbert, Judy at 19, and now with Zach Moss. All right, JB, we're back on the clock. Baltimore Ravens. Ooh, okay. And you know what? I might be going a little crazy here. I touched on him earlier. Lynn Bowden. He played quarterback in a pinch for them for a majority of the season. And a real good athlete. I'm kind of intrigued with that if I was the Ravens. I just think with the packages you could present with him and Lamar out there, you could get really creative. Limbo is someone that you could, have in Wildcat potentially, and you could have 2 quarterbacks almost out there. Obviously you ain't going to play quarterbacks in the pros really, but just a real good athlete. That kind of intrigues me if I was them. Could use an interior offensive lineman maybe. Never have too many linemen. Marcus Bailey is a real good story from Purdue. No, I would take a receiver. Another receiver. We could do that. I'm a people pleaser. We could take another receiver. What kind of receiver you're thinking? You're thinking more of an athlete? You're thinking physical specimen? You're thinking, like I said, more of like a gadgety slot guy like Lynn Bowden? You got Colin Johnson, who's about 6'6", I believe, freak out of Texas. Tyler Johnson, a real underutilized route runner. JB, what do you think? What are you thinking here? Duvernay, a speedster out of the slot. Isaiah Hodges, really productive from Oregon State. This is for the Ravens. Another after the catch guy. That kind of intrigues me. A yak guy, a bigger yak guy. Tyler Johnson, that man is a beast. Yeah, Tyler Johnson is a beast. And you know what's funny? Not a lot of love. Like, I'm sorry. You know what, guys? I need your input on the chat here. What is with people thinking that low 4.5s, 4.51s, high 4.4s is slow for a wide receiver? Why is that slow? I just like when CD Lamb ran that 4.51. I was like, oh my god, that is a great time. I like Hodges from Oregon State. Yeah, he's a good player. I just don't understand. Let's think right now, folks. Who are some of the best receivers in football, and what did they run? Michael Thomas did not run well. He has been a machine. Antonio Brown, I know sore spot for all us Raider fans, not a burner. All he does is get open in his career. Devontae Adams, not a burner. All he does is get open. You know, all these people that are hating on these receivers, I like speed over straight line speed. Exactly. Game speed over straight line speed, 100%. And another fact that I'm going to get on, why are they running in tights at the combine? Put on a helmet, put on pads, then time them. That's when you should time them. How do you carry the weight of your uniform on you and your equipment? Okay. So we're back here with the Ravens. Saw on that little what's it called, spat I had, but I'm so confused on people wanting. Now every receiver has to run 4.4 apparently, and that's just no. You just have to be able to get in and out of your breaks and read leverage. I don't know. The comment is not what makes you a good draft pick, like DK Metcalf. Yeah, DK. And DK is someone I honestly did miss out a little bit on. I'm going to be honest. I was a little critical about his agility drills and whatnot, but he went to the perfect spot. And my brother is a huge Niners fan, and he wanted DK. And I said, you know, as soon as he went to the Seattle, I was like, he couldn't go to a better team. Russell Wilson, extending plays, just have him do what he does best: slants, fades, streaks, 9 routes. DK Metcalf. He's elite at what he does well, and there's a role for that. So I kind of over missed that. Okay. Now, what are we going to do for you guys now in Baltimore? What about in another interior lineman? You could always use more hogs. Not a fan of the combines. Think it's more for medicals and meetings. 100%. Great point there. I think the same thing. Really, and that's what's really going to separate the football player, in my opinion. All these guys have talent, some, better than not, but they're all getting a shot at the pros for a reason. What's inside and how their mind works is what's really going to separate them. Their want to. And, I think that's one of the most interesting things about this draft is teams, in my opinion, are going to really have to rely on tape more so than getting to know the kids themselves. Stafford equals the GOAT. Matt Stafford, I'm assuming you're talking about. Yeah, he's a gunslinger from Georgia. Great person from all I can hear from, too. DK is good, but if he was good in college or good in those combine numbers at top 10, he was average in college. Yeah, he was average in college a lot because he was hurt too. He broke his neck. That's the other thing that caused him to fall. He had to have surgery on his neck, which is, kind of a scary thing. And then the other thing is I don't know if you guys know David Boston, but his body type is very similar to David Boston. When you're super jacked up and super muscular, you don't have a lot of you have a lot of soft tissue injuries that usually happen. So, but DK is the man. Okay, so Baltimore, we're back on the clock. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. Baltimore, who are we gonna make? Let's give him another interior offensive lineman, Simpson. You got to protect Lamar. So I'll give you 2 guards. Maybe one could be potentially a tackle from St. John's. Sorry, JB, if I kind of took that pick away from you. I'm just trying to get back on track here. I'm starting to to snowball here a little bit, get it off on a tangent. All right, so we got the Bob. If you're still here, I haven't heard from you. The Niners coming up again. Yeah, Simpson is a good pick. Yeah, I think he'll be gone by then. I see him more as like a third round pick. This is off of their rankings. If he's around in the third, I think the Raiders would jump all over him. I'll put it like that. Him or a Mutai. Okay, so the Niners, let me just refresh on what the Niners have done. Laviscus and CJ so far. So some of their biggest needs, that's for sure. Okay, so where's the Niners? I got their number one corner and their number one receiver. I go interior offensive lineman would be nice for them. A defensive lineman would be nice. Isaiah Hodges is a good player. Keep adding to that room. Khalil Davis, an athletic freak, really underperformer. I think if we could get a guy that could run for them, run and chase. Logan Wilson's a bit of a tackling machine. Sorry, guys, I know I'm scrolling. I'm really a fan of Yazir Durant from the University of Missouri. I'm going to go with him for them. They're heavily relying on their run game and whatnot. Oh, my God, we're back on the Baltimore Ravens are back on the clock, and look at all the picks they have, folks. All right, so 157, the Ravens. All kinds of options, all kinds of players. JB's here. Can use some help. And what you're thinking, we've knocked a lot of needs off the get-go here. Isaiah Hodges, based off of value, I think I'm just going to slide him, JB, and continue. I know you guys have Miles Boykin out there, a Brown, and that gives you Isaiah, Hodgins and Tyler Johnson. You keep getting. Hold on, would that give us 3 receivers? Let me make sure I don't have 3 receivers taken for them. Duggar, Weaver, Taylor. Yeah, let's go Isaiah Hodgins for the Ravens. All right, back for the Raiders. See what I've done for them with all these teams. We got running back, linebacker. We could use an interior offensive lineman. Yes, Hodges, he says. We got that. Could use an interior offensive lineman. I don't want to pick people I don't know. Obviously, Michigan's a great school. Probably has some talent. Oh, Goudry, I do like him. He's a little small, more of a nickel guy. The Raiders do need a nickel corner. I like that. I just watched his tape. He's nice. I've seen him, some highlights of him against Oregon. All right, so round 5. In the thick of things here, folks. Almost an hour and a half into this stream. I don't even know how much battery I have left in my phone. 62%, so still doing good. All right. Back on the clock for the Niners. All right. D's nuts. All right. Cool. That country music. All right, so let's see here. So the Niners are on the clock. They have made some good picks here. They've got interior offensive lineman. They've gotten a receiver, and they've gotten a corner. They could use a safety. A guy like Tanner Muse is more in the box type of safety. They could use a safety. They could use a receiver. Joshua Kelly's a nice player, but as somebody said, they've got about 49 running backs, so that's all right. I'm going to go with one of my favorite run and chase kind of player. I think he's going to project more as a weak side linebacker, but Tanner Muse for them. And let's go. I think this might be my last one, guys, here. We're an hour and a half in. Maybe could ask you guys if you want to have any draft questions about specific players or thoughts or ranges before I take off. But yeah, it's probably my last mock simulator. We could do another one in a few days, later on this week or early next week. We can do another one. And as I mentioned, this is the draft simulator from the Draft Network. Check it out, guys. They do have a subscription-based plan that allows trades and gives you access to other articles and videos, I believe. Let's look at, for the Niners, interior defensive lineman would be nice. A receiver. Go to receiver. Let me look. Look by just receiver for the Niners. James, there's no way he's not making it to the 6th. That was just shame on this draft prediction of having him in the 6th. Shame. I have a virtual school in the morning, so I'll see you later, Mason. All right, JB, man, take care. Good talking. Appreciate it, man. And good talking, man. All right, so back on the clock with the Niners here. Little gadget player, kick return, Joe Reed. Nah. Lineman, running back. Take care, too. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Stay safe, man. Wow. Okay, I'm not a receiver here for the Niners, that's for sure. AJ Green. AJ Green's got long length to him. I'm going James Lynch again. There's no way he's there too either. But hey, if he's not there, if somehow he ends up, I gotta take care of it. There's always people that fall that you're not expecting in real life, either because of medicals or personality or other things off the field. Okay, so we're back on with the Ravens. He's got to take off, so I'm just going to pretty much assume this year he took off. We'll just give him a safety. And like I said, guys, we're going to pretty much wrap it up probably. I've been on for an hour and a half. If you guys have any questions, in the next few minutes before this thing does wrap up, I'll be happy to answer. But yeah, it's been a long hour and a half. Draft Network Simulator, so probably going to be taking off here unless I get a final question from anybody. Any of you 3 remaining chat viewers. Let's see. Let's go back to kicker for Niners. I like the idea of getting a kicker for the Niners. I really do. They drafted a punter last year. Gold is all. Good knowledge. Thanks, man. I do watch a lot of football. They don't have kickers? Am I tripping? That's messed up. Oh, there you go, Blankenship. But yeah, thanks. I do watch a lot of football, but as I said, now that I am part of Zenny 62 Media, I'm doing a lot more concentrated research and whatnot. All right, so folks, like I said, I appreciate the support and all that good stuff. With more information that comes out and all that, I will be making more videos. Thanks for the support. Go ahead and follow me at Twitter at Mason Riggs. Trying to get more active there as well. And thanks for your time. And yeah, thank you. That'll do it. Good night too. Later.